Hi, welcome back to our PTI show. I'm Ben Clav. I have Jonathan Geller and A.D. Larson here with me. Today we're going to be talking about the best baseball player of all time and the biggest underdog to maybe snag that last wild card spot. A.D., any thoughts on this?
So I believe that Cy Young is the greatest baseball player of all time. He is the winningest pitcher ever with 511 wins, and he threw at 906 games pitched. He had a 1.13 WHIP, and he had 2,803 strikeouts. And so he's definitely one of the greatest. And also, he has an award named after him. Like, you can't get better than that.
I mean, I think that there is a case to be made for Cy Young, but I think that AD's wrong here. I think that the best baseball player of all time is going to be Ken Griffey Jr. Ken Griffey Jr. just performed solidly throughout his entire career. He was one of the best outfielders to ever play the game, and his hitting was always top of the charts. So that's why I think that Ken Griffey Jr. is one.
I'm sorry, Jonathan, but you are simply wrong. Ken Griffey Jr., yes, he had a great career, and he won 3 home run derbies, which is very impressive. But that was kind of all to him. He wasn't the best fielder. He was just a great home run hitter. Cy Young threw more strikeouts than he did earned runs. He threw more strikeouts than he gave up earned runs. So Cy Young simply is the best pitcher ever, and therefore the best player ever, since pitching is probably the most important position on the field.
Hey, let's go back. I mean, simply, as you said, but opposite. You are very wrong, AD. Let's go back to the time Cy Young played, like 1905. Who was batting against him? Like, what was their everyday job? Were they baseball players who get paid millions of dollars every year? Or were they plumbers whose main job was to fix pipes in people's houses and play baseball for fun? Like, what was the competition he was playing against that makes you think he's better than the kid?
Sure, the competition wasn't the best, but also you have to remember that if the competition you were playing against were today, they would be better at the game. They would be open to more resources that could help them get better, and it would just today and back then in Cy Young's time is kind of even, because today, yes, it is harder, but today we also have more things that can help us get better and get stronger, which they didn't have, and Cy Young excelled even though he didn't have those things. Ken Griffey Jr. had those things, and he just.
AD, you're wrong. That excuse could work for somebody of today's time. Ken Griffey Jr. played in the 90s when they didn't have super good technology back then. They were kind of in an in-between stage where all the players that were playing in the league were all just full-time baseball players who excelled at baseball and were some of the best in the world. But they also didn't have the greatest technology to be able to come up with new pitches or to improve in velocity. So I think Ken Griffey Jr. is the best baseball player of all time.
That's true.
Thank you guys. I think we should go to the best underdog going to the playoffs to snag that last wild card spot. Jonathan, any thoughts on that?
I mean, I think that while the Mets have a case to make, I don't think that they are the biggest underdog going into the playoffs this season. In fact, I think that one of the biggest underdogs going into the wild card this season is the Red Sox. They don't get talked about much, and they don't have their roster it's not stud filled, but they have Rafael Devers, who's been putting on a great show the entire season. And while they're not great at everything, they're not really super bad at anything specifically. So that's why I think the Red Sox have a huge case to make for going into the playoffs as an underdog.
All right. You were simply wrong in that situation, because the question was, who is the biggest underdog to maybe snag that last wild card spot, meaning that who isn't in the wild card right now. The Red Sox are in the wild card right now. No. So, yeah, they are. They're the final slot in the wild card. They have it right now.
Yep, I have it right here.
So, I think that the Rays or Astros have a case to be made, because the Rays are only 5.5 games back, and they have great players and great pitching. And the Astros are only 3.5 games back, And they also have great pitching and great hitting. The Astros have 3 All-Stars going in, and they have great pitching in Justin Verlander, Ronel Blanco, Framber Valdez. So you are just simply wrong in that case.
Really, I think that the Astros is just not. I mean, it's not even a choice. Like, I don't know why you even thought that was an option. Look at your jersey right now. You're quite biased. The Rays have a bigger case to be made. I think that it's definitely possible, but I really think that it's going to be the Red Sox going in as the underdog this season. As I said, they don't have a ton of stars, so nobody really looks out for them, but they could really pack a punch,
Well, the thing about the Astros being an underdog is that, their bullpen, sure, they just picked up Josh Hader in the offseason, but, he wasn't doing that great at the season, and they're just barely over 500, so they are definitely underdogs, but I think that they are going to break out because of their all-stars that are carrying the team at the end of the season.
Thank you guys. That's a wrap on our PTI show. Thank you, AD Larson, Ben Clapp, and Jonathan Geller. Thank you for joining us. This is PTI.